Good to be with you guys. So, life is interesting because life has so much to do with the frequency or the vibration, if you would say, of how you show up, or the presence, maybe is another way to say it, that you show up. And one of the things I've observed in just all the people that I'm seeing succeed is it's how they're choosing to show up. And yes, there's the physical part of showing up, which good job being here and all of our good friends online. But there's also the other angle of that in sense of showing up is how you show up. And so there's a handful of things I want to share with you. But if you were to go downstairs, on Friday, I wrote this down. I wrote down the word anxiety, and then I wrote down the word regulation. This is an interesting business. Life is interesting, just in general. And there can be a lot of anxiety. But what would be other words that you would say would be in relationship to anxiety?
Fear.
All right, perfect. All right, so fear, what else?
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty.
Nervous.
Pardon?
Nervous.
There you go. Nervous. I'm gonna put that reminds me, stressed. What else? What are other words? What are the words you use?
Logic.
What is it you feel? Overthinking,
Tired.
right? Let's just see.
Depressed.
There we go. Depressed. Scared. What else? I thought there was something else someone said.
Tired.
Tired. Worn out. Negative. Angry or anger. Anything else? I just want you to realize, I mean, we can come from all different angles of this, but I think we've covered it. I mean, there's other things that we could talk about. Let's see, there was one other I usually put up here. The other one, another one big one for me, I pay attention to is doubt. Probably about 5-6 years ago, I had someone sit down with me and they said these words. They said, I've never met anyone that I've met in my life that is able to perform at the level you perform at with so much uncertainty. And it wasn't actually a joke. You would say, well, was it supposed to be funny? No, it wasn't. There was so much commotion going on, so much movement going on, so many challenges going on, so much uncertainty going on, right? That caused stress, fear, doubt, all these different feelings that oftentimes in a market like this that we may feel. And the challenge is that whatever you want to cloak it as, there's a lot of the quote gurus out there that will say things like, well, really, there's only two types of emotions. There's love and fear. And that's probably true. In fairness, I haven't really given it a lot of thought, but I could certainly say we could be scarce, or we could be abundant, we could be open, or we could be closed, we could be constricted, or we could be loose. And all of these things like constriction and closure, all of these things are about this idea that what I'm wanting to talk about, which is the way in which we regulate our anxiety. Now, the thing is, our fears, our doubts, our depression, our sadness, our negativity, our overthinking, our logic, we're tired, we've lost hope, all of these things, these inner voices that continue to go on inside of us, is that, have you ever had it to where you feel anxiety start to rise in you? You feel the fear or the doubt or the stress rise in you. One minute you're fine, the next minute you're not. You say, man, how come I can't control that? And I don't have necessarily an answer for that. I don't know why or how it happens. I don't necessarily know how to necessarily control it so it doesn't happen. But what I do know is I know how to counter it. And so if you start to think about this, you start to realize two things. Your mind speaks to you in thoughts. Your body speaks to you with feeling. The language of the body is feeling. The language of the mind is thought. When you think about that, the language of the mind is thought. The language of the body is feeling. So if you note, most of this up here is a feeling. And it rises, just like the tide rises, it goes up and down. When we have these moments of stress or nervousness or uncertainty, this anxiety that rises and flows within us. And the challenge is that because we are human beings, being something, then earlier this morning I had written down in my journal and even sent out a text to my family. I said, be, do, have. And I asked the question on a group text to our kids and to Jennifer. I said, who do you have to be to have all that you desire? What do you have to do to get what you desire? So you can have all that you want to have. And the stronger you are at managing this stuff, the nonsense of thinking that stress, anxiety, and the challenges of life, stoplights, I felt even just a little bit of the rise of anxiety as I was coming here because I forgot that I was leaving right at the school zone. And then I got here a little bit late. And then I was worried about whether we were going to be able to get in, just like last time we weren't able to get in. And I just texted Kenzie today and I said, hey, I need a key to the second floor. But my point is I could feel that rise in me because it was uncertain. It was stressful. There was the traffic. Things were stopping me. So I just want to point out that this isn't like, oh, well, George, you must never feel stress and anxiety and never get sad or nervous or uncertain. I get that way all the time. That's the thing is that somehow people think, oh, well, you must not have that. Not me, even you. People are like, oh, well, he or she must have it all figured out. It's going so good for them. So the question is what does this stuff, what is the end result of when we're being fearful, uncertain, nervous, and we show up and we start prospecting or knocking doors or with a client or we have a presence. And when we show up this way, when we're being this way, it has an outcome. It has a presence. It shows something. And it shows all of this because of this, because we are a vibrational, or we might even call it that there's a frequency to who we are. We're vibrational beings. And the thing is that when you start to figure that out, you have to ask yourself, man, who's showing up? At least I think you should. Who's showing up at the appointments? Someone who's scared or someone who's powerful? Who's showing up prospecting? Someone who's doubting that they're going to set an appointment or someone who absolutely believes they're going to? There's a vibration, there's a frequency. And if the language of the body is the way you feel and the thoughts are the language of the mind, well, who's showing up? Who's showing up from this? Now, the big question is, I'm just pointing out, the frequency, the vibration, the feeling you have, the way you use your thoughts, who you're being is a direct result based on what you get. So the question I'm often asking before we get to some solutions is, who do I have to be? And you fill in the blank. Who do I have to be to earn a certain amount of money? The best part about these markets, man, the best parts about them, tough markets, difficult situations, challenging times, because it requires you to become your very best. It requires you to become more than you were the day before. See, money cloaks a lot of things. Money hides a lot of things. Money makes it to where you don't have to deal oftentimes with a lot of things. And so the challenge is that the beauty and the gratitude that you should have for the challenging moments that are this moment right now is that you have to become someone different than you were before. You have to fight, drive, think, communicate to yourself, negotiate with yourself to become someone else. So this question used to be on many little places in my little office that I had. And it said, who do I have to become to earn? And I've had, over the years, I've changed the number, but first number I had 20 something years ago, who do I have to become to earn $200,000+? That was my goal. That was back in 1997, 1998. Who do I have to become? Who do I have to become as a salesperson? Who do I have to become as a leader? Who do I have to become as a communicator? Who do I have to become as a closer? Who do I have to become as someone who prospects daily? Who do I have to become if I want to be in better shape? Who do I have to become if I want to be better in my relationships? Who do I have to become? And the challenge is that sometimes we're forgetting that we are the solution, which I often talk about lately, because we are the problem. The market's not the problem. I actually have appreciated what I think Jim Rohn would say. John's been saying it. The market doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about your problems, doesn't care about your concerns, doesn't care about what you're scared about, doesn't care about what you're fearful of. What it cares about is probably nothing in relationship to what you're doing, not the market. It's just the market. What you have to get concerned about is who you have to be in this market and who has to show up in this market. So now, if there's a frequency to your presence, if there's a vibration of how you show up, the presence that you offer, if there is things you have to be, and if there's things you have to do to have all that you desire, if that's the case, and if there's things like whatever word might describe moments of your life, whether it's, again, negativity, fear, stress, challenges, the loss of hope, hopelessness, depressed, scared, doubtful, how are you managing that? How are you moving through that? How are you resisting that? Or is it that you just think you can hide behind yourself and that you think no one feels it? And yet, if you walk into a room, can you feel when someone's angry? Every time. Can you feel when a room is too intense or way intense? Every time. I just recently, 3-4 weeks ago, I remember Jeremy walking into a room and you had just announced something talking about an agent. And I have to tell you, I was pretty ticked off about it, Dustin. I was ticked. I'll just leave it at that. And Jeremy didn't know what had gone on. He walked into the room, and after he sent me a text sitting in the room, Luce, and said, "Are you okay?" Because I was emanating a vibration, a frequency, a presence. I was angry. And he didn't know why. He didn't know what was wrong, but he felt it. So let me tell you something. You're not going to hide behind it. You're not going to hide acting like nothing's wrong if something's wrong. You just won't. We are too innate in what we interpret, what we feel, what we experience, what we discern, what our gut tells us, if you want to study something powerful, study mind mapping. We're mapping everybody. Since the dawn of creation, you have been mapping every single situation you get into and every single person. Why? Because it's there to protect you. That's the whole point. You're supposed to stay alive. So you're mapping everything. So now the bigger question, how do you manage? You're not going to get rid of all of it. You never do. You don't get rid of all of this. All right? You don't get rid of it. You manage it. So how are you managing it? How are you moving through stress, moments of doubt, frustration, anger, too much logic, overthinking? I'm tired. I'm hopeless. I'm scared. And the thing is that you might be just awesome right at this moment. Go, this doesn't really apply to me. But it might just in about an hour from now, when all of a sudden some prospect yells at you, or something goes wrong, or a deal doesn't go right. And all of a sudden you're asking questions like, why isn't this working? Why isn't it happening? Why am I not setting appointments? And all of a sudden, anxiousness, stress, depression, sadness, doubt, trying to flee, run away from it, wishing it was easier instead of wishing you were better, as the great late Jim Rohn said. So how do you manage it? How do you move through it? And that's what we're going to get into. So Greg, how do you do it?
Well, I had a coach once teach that when things are going down the toilet, actually pull out a whistle and blow it.
Well, there you go. So raise your hand.
Say, you're a referee, timeout.
Yeah, I love that, by the way. That's great. So so one, I'm a huge, admit it. Like, admit what you're feeling. Stop acting like you don't feel what you're feeling. Hold on, Luce, just one sec. Just remember that one of the things you may is just simply admitting, what are you feeling? What are you experiencing? If you act like it's not even there, then you can never fix it. So I think there's some real truth to saying, hey, I'm raising my hand, go, whoa, time out. I'm stressed. Okay, hold on a second. If I'm stressed, I'm freaking out, things are going down, raise my hand. Okay, now I'm going to do things that are going to tweak this, fix this, and make it better. Luz?
Well, I was just going to say that when I'm feeling that way, I usually take some time out and focus my mind on a higher power.
Okay.
I mean, little me cannot deal with everything, but there is something that can help.
Right. So we're going to list everything. So we might look to, I'm just going to use it higher power, we'll look to God or higher power, right? That's great. We might pray. What do you do when you're at your worst? Because here's the thing, guys. Let me just point this out. When you're at your worst and you have all of the, let me ask you this. What is the negative things that people do when they're feeling that way? Lash out, rage, what else?
Jail.
Go to jail?
Yeah,
Is it-
no, jail.
Oh,
Screaming.
oh, yelling. I thought she said going to jail. This can put you in jail. I'm like, yeah, this will put you in jail. At least an emotional jail for sure. Okay, so you'll scream, rage. What other thing? Come on, let's get real. Come on, what else do we do? Exactly, there we go. Food, drugs, alcohol. What else will we do? What are other things that people do? Accuse, blame, play victim.
Take it out on others.
Take it out on others.
Shut down.
Sorry, say again?
Shut down.
Shut down? Absolutely. Go recluse, get away, disappear. What else? What else do they do? Anything else? What do you do when you're off? Think about it. When you're feeling all of this, what do you do? What's your body language like? What's your emotions like? Are you reading? Are you writing your journal? Are you meditating? Are you studying? Are you wanting, when you're feeling, how about this? When you're feeling this way, do you want to be around people?
No.
Oh no, I need some time.
Usually it's non-productive.
Almost always, unless you're doing work, right? When I say work, meaning, hey, great, yeah, go pray, go commune with a higher power with God. Go make sure that, you acknowledge what's going on so you can fix it. When you're in Scouts, I don't know if Scouts exist anymore, but when you were in Scouts and you're lost, the first thing they say you should figure out when you're lost is what?
Stay where you are.
Stay where you are and figure out what? Where you are. Figure out where you are. Where are you? If you're lost, where are you? What do you do? Just keep wandering, walking through the woods, hoping that you're going west, knowing you need to go east. I don't know. That's what people do. That's what we all do. It's not like I haven't done this. I'm a master of all these traits. I got these down, man. The world taught you. You only had two fears, Dustin, when you showed up. You know that? Fear of falling and fear of loud noise. Every other fear you have, Dustin, you learned from someone or your own experiences. So that's fascinating. Everything you're scared of, you learn from someone else or from your own experiences, because you only came to this world with two: fear of falling and fear of a loud noise. And that's the only thing you weren't taught. Every other fear you have, all the uncertainty, stress, the unknown, projecting the failures of the future, it's you. Someone taught you that, or you learned it on your own. So again, what are other things? Let's just go back to this. So we're going to acknowledge where we are. We're going to use prayer. We're going to use a higher power. What else? Keep going.
Breathing. Just
Perfect. That's what's on my board, by the way, is breathing.
Exercise.
There we go. Exercise. Let's go back to breath, and both of them are incredibly important. But breath, I was with my coach, and I sat there and I said these words, Brandon, I don't know. And he said, I know you know. No, I don't think I know. No, I really don't think I know. I mean, I don't know. I don't even remember what we were talking about, April. I just said I didn't know. I don't, right? That's what Isaac says to me. What do you think? I don't know. Just kidding, Isaac, right? You never say that to me ever. Actually, he did last night, maybe, just so you know. All right? But my point is that we all know. I really believe you know. I believe that you don't give yourself enough credit. And that was a very big learning moment. And I remember he said, hey, you know what I want you to do? He said, I want you to put both hands on your heart. And he goes, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take 3 deep breaths, in with your mouth closed, out with your mouth open. And I went, and did slow breaths. And then he goes, and I want you to open your eyes and you tell me if you know the answer. And I opened my eyes, Dustin, and boom, I knew the answer. And I said it. I don't even remember what it was, Luce. But yeah, I don't even remember what the answer was. I don't remember what we were talking about, but it made me realize, you know. Stop using the defense mechanism of, I don't know. Don't act like a teenager. You do know.
You know, especially.
But you don't slow down enough to know. Go ahead.
Especially that's so important because if it involves someone else and you don't take a moment to breathe and figure out that this isn't just because of you, it's their own reactions, it could just blow up. I've seen this just happen over the weekend. I was around someone and just one little thing triggered them and they were just a mess.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I mean, thank God that I really am grateful that I'm able to collect myself and be peaceful and like, okay.
Regulate, right? You're able to regulate.
Yeah, like give them some time. So if you're not breathing and that person's not breathing, you're just creating fire for no reason.
You bet. You bet. Absolutely. Okay, let's list other things. There's no, I want to know when you're trying to get back, April, when you're like, man, I'm on my game. Bob, when you're on your game, what do you guys do? They don't have to be big stuff, man. Like we just did some of these, didn't we? Affirmations.
I would include you need to focus on the things you can control.
Okay. So you basically become, I'm gonna put here the word, you become conscious. You awaken, you are aware. Then you're like, whoa, time out, man. What am I focusing on? The negativity? Right, Isaac, what did we talk about? I talked to you yesterday about focusing on what? Yeah, focusing on what you can control. That was the whole point. Become awake, become conscious. And it doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes and focus on the wrong stuff. We're human. Of course we're going to.
I would say right.
Okay, right? So journal.
Gratitude.
Right?
I was going to say gratitudes. Like, what are you grateful for?
Exactly. I got on the edge of my bed this morning before I got up, put both feet on the floor, and I said, thank you. Thank you for this day. I was feeling anxiety from the moment I woke up this morning. So how do we regulate? Man, gratitude. Do we speak of gratitude? I said that out loud, by the way. Do we feel gratitude? Are we experiencing gratitude? Do we write down our gratitude? Write them, speak them, feel them, think of them. It's not just a one little, oh, I'm grateful. Really? Like, could you elaborate on that if we're going to get deep into it? Do you feel it? Do you speak to it? Do you write it? Do you say it? Do you believe it? How do you express your gratitude? Okay, what else?
Listen.
Pardon?
Sit still and listen.
Ah, I love it. So I'm going to say go to a place of peace and listen. Maybe we all, I haven't put this up here. So that's a great way to get into that is to meditate. So how do you meditate? Guys, if you can regulate your anxiety and whatever word that, if we haven't listed the word that you cloak it by, but if you figure out how to manage it and how to regulate it, this business will not stop you. But if you let the anxiety, the fear, the depression, the doubt, the sadness, the overthinking, the paralyzation that occurs, and if it stops you, then that's because you haven't been resourceful to manage it. The reason we do morning meetings, the reason we stand up, high five. Sometimes we talk about, what do you believe, right? What do you believe is what you think. What you think is what you then feel. What you feel is then what you do or your physicalness, and then that gets the results. But you can reverse engineer that. If I get my body and my emotion or my body right, let's just say I exercise, I'm jumping down, I do high fives, or I go, so I keep positive, exciting, fun, productive thoughts in my mind at all times. Yes. All of these things are physical. Physical can lead to then the emotional. Emotional leads to the way you think, which then shifts and changes your state so you can have better beliefs. So it could be exercise from hiking to going to the gym to playing a particular sport. But man, let's get it dialed in so that you can play the game at the highest level of life. What else do you do? Think of, what do I do to get back on? Not to escape. See, we escape with movies, food, alcohol, drugs, porn. All of these types of things are poor excuses to escape. You say, well, wait, are they all bad? Not all the time. But I tell you one thing. If you put your mouth to the lips of a drink to escape your life, that is a problem. If you're doing it because you want to have a good time, hey, all the more power to you. But if you're trying to escape the life that you've been given, that is a problem. Because this life is a gift. So use it and be grateful for it. Not trying to escape the very things. Let me tell you something that drives me nuts about religion. It'll be better later. So this doesn't really matter. Whoa, what? What do you mean this doesn't matter? Well, yeah, it'll be better in the future when I'm not here, when I'm in the promised land, when I'm in heaven. Really? What a slap in the face of the Creator to not realize the gift of today, the gift that today is. Remember that. This is a gift. And stop trying to escape it and deal with it, right? Admit where you are and get where you need to get. Okay, coaching, right, is one. You talked about, you said your coach. What else? Give other things before we wrap up.
To expand on exercise and things, 3 things that have worked for me is walking.
Ooh, love it.
Just simply walking, and then you can do a lot with that.
By the way, I've seen a number of agents I see walking around the building. I think you and I were Gretchen. Yeah, I've seen you. I saw Gretchen out there. Talk about stressful moments, CFO. Gretchen's doing laps around the parking lot. She's walking, regulating anxiety. That's how we do it. Take it one.
And cold showers.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I mean,
So like the cold showers and then the what do they call that? The plunges, right?
Well, talk about getting yourself out of a state. Like if you're in a bad state of mind, jumping in a cold shower it just shocks you right out of it.
And then you talked about the heat, the sauna. So basically the extremes, the high, the low.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then for me, I'm going to tell you a little quick story. I was in a sauna once, and I had a guy come in, and he just came in and said, "Oh my gosh," and I was struggling. I'm not going to lie. It was when I first started sauna, and I wanted just to leave. I had this fight or flight, like I want to get the heck out of this thing. It's 180, 190 degrees. This guy comes in and he sits here. He goes, "Oh, this is my favorite part." And he goes, "This is my reward for the hard work." I started talking to him about that, explain that, because I'm struggling here. And he said, he just got out of rehab.
Wow.
And it was such a gift. And he says, if you can handle it here, you have to deal with the heat. So you have to be one with the heat. You got to be present with the heat. And then everything else is okay. And I just went, whoa, and I just sat there quietly for another 15 minutes, because this guy had it figured
Burn it
out.
up.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so
right.
extreme stuff like that.
Yes.
It's easy. We're not going to die from it. We're going to be okay.
Yes.
It's like 2 minutes of a cold shower is going to kill us.
Yes.
And then you get out, you feel amazing.
Look, again, we all get into ruts, man. We all get into moments of anxiety, stress, depression, sadness. You said, well, hey, I was, what did you say? You said, you said I was struggling. But that's another word. I'm struggling. Guys, we cloak it in all sorts of different ways. It's not judgment. It's just, man, if you want to live your best life, it's how you manage through it. It's how you regulate. Just a few other things, right? Read, which I think someone already said. We said write, listen. What are you listening to? What are you watching? Right? Just those simple things. Who are you spending? Have you ever noticed that if you spend time with the right people? So mentors, friends, and all of a sudden you start spending time with the right people, you start feeling better. Does anybody have that? You spend time with a better person, someone who uplifts you, motivates you, drives you. makes you see the world differently, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I can do it. Right? Bob, what do you do?
Talk to somebody.
All right. So you'll speak to what, a
Like
coach, a
a
mentor,
spouse or
a friend, a
a
spouse.
friend.
There you go. Okay. I love it.
George,
Yep.
for me, I'd say preparation. If I prepare like the night before, then I have a lot better day and I have a lot better attitude because I have everything in a line of like what I'm going to do for the day. And so I think preparation is big for me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Do you know, I thought you were going to say, April, I've been waiting for it, is look at the facts. Do you know what I love knowing? We've sold just shy of 200 homes so far this month, like 160 something homes. Last month we closed 200. I had a good friend of mine ask Tom Lloyd. I'll tell you who it was, Boyd Brown, good friend of mine. He talked to Tom and he said, I don't understand how George is doing so much volume. Do you realize there was 800 last week? It was 800 on the very day. It was 896 home sales in the entire Salt Lake County. We sold 199 homes in the last 30 days. That's pretty awesome. Now it's never enough, so don't think it's enough. It's not enough, but it's cool. Like 1 out of every 4 homes in Salt Lake County, essentially, we're on one side of the sale. Like, wow, not enough. Do more. Mateo, more, right? But my point is, seriously, okay, April, I don't want Mateo to say something. I want Isaac to say something. And I want you to say something, Aubrey. So go ahead. What do you do? What do you do to manage and effectively, not the escapes, to manage effectively, again, your anxieties and stresses?
You haven't talked about changing your states.
Okay, such as, what do you mean by that?
Well, so Tony Robbins, this is mine, like, that's mine, just something physical. But when I look at my kids, I'm like, oh my gosh, pull your shoulders back,
Yes.
lift your head up, something like that. It's just like, and I do it too, but you can see it in other people who aren't.
Yeah.
Pull your
So shoulders back, standing up straight, right? All of the, just your physical state, how you hold yourself, shoulders slumped over. How many have gone to Unleash the Power Within, where you replicate, and you replicate being depressed, you replicate being happy, and you start to realize there are physical components to how you replicate what you're feeling. And what if I was in a little group with myself, Mateo, and April, what would do is he would have to show himself being depressed without saying, and then we're supposed to figure out what he's feeling. It's not too complicated, right? Shallow breathing, looking down, shoulders hunched over, speaking softly, lacking confidence. Oh, well, I wonder what he's feeling. It's obvious when we're in those little makeshift little groups. If you go to an Unleash the Power Within, start to realize, man, you can change that state quick. Okay, good. Mateo, give me something. What do you do?
Exercise is really important for me.
Okay. Specifically, we've used, my favorite thing to do is to hike when I exercise. That'd be my favorite hiking, or would be my favorite thing. What is the best thing you do in relationship to exercise to get yourself on?
Lifting heavy weights.
Okay.
There's a new study that came out that said when you contract your muscles that it actually releases a hormone into your brain, which is like an antidepressant.
There you go.
And every single time I get done working out, I feel on top of the world. All my stresses, all my anxieties are put into the weights.
It's great. I love it. But you probably agree to that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, I do. Stressful things like sled work right now for me is the best thing I can do. Just throw as much weight as I can on and just push it for a little minute,
Yeah, it's good, man.
I feel good about it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay.
That could be like skiing too, and other kinds of forms of just.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Right. And here's the thing. Can you always go to a seminar? Can you always be skiing? Can I always be golfing? When I'm golfing, man, life is just, it all goes away. All my problems go away, unless I'm not beating Isaac. Then I have big problems. Right? But my point is that I could golf all day, but I can't golf all day. So how do I regulate without golf? Right? Isaac, what do you do? Give me something that you do to regulate. Think about when you were on the pitcher's mound. Think about when you were swinging the bat. How did you regulate the anxiety in sports?
Visualize.
All right. Actually, we haven't said that. We said meditate, but visualize. So what would you visualize if you're talking sports?
Successful outcome.
All right. So let's think about it. Are you seeing appointments set today? Can you see success today? Good point. Great one. Okay. Dustin, how about you? Give me something.
Breathing.
Breathing? Okay, that's already said, so you can't use that one yet. Unless you're gonna say specifically a way in which you breathe that gives you, how do you breathe?
Wim Hof.
Okay, so give us an example. Wim Hof, if you haven't studied that, that's the guy who sits in all the ice water and then breathes like a psycho. You know, but has got it dialed in, that is for sure, has proven lots of science, either wrong or right. Pardon?
40 to 30 deep breaths, and then you hold the breath for up to 2 minutes.
All right, there you go, Wim Hof. Does it help?
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Think about that, guys. There's tools everywhere to regulate your anxiety effectively. I'm not trying to be critical when I say the other things that you can use to escape. What I'm suggesting is there's effective ways to help you be highly productive when you're not feeling, or you're feeling the stress, and you can eliminate the stress, the anxiety, and the fear. Aubrey.
I was gonna say exercise again, but honestly, I think so. I do like exercising, playing basketball but it's more like I can't do that if I'm like in the office.
I mean, I presume your fears and stresses go away if you're playing basketball,
Yeah,
but you can't play basketball nonstop.
exactly. So
Okay.
one thing I do, this is just me specific to that. Actually, this probably roots back to my younger days. I go out in nature. I don't know. That's my way of connecting with God, and just kind of resetting myself.
Yeah.
I'll do that even in school or
Yeah.
work. I'll go out and just be out in nature, not like by anybody else, just be in the trees or grass, wherever.
Last week I went up there after our morning meeting, I think it was last Wednesday, I could just feel the anxiety rising in me. I drove up the canyon like 2-3 minutes. I think I was telling you that. I think I told you that. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
Right? And I actually took my shoes off because there's a polarization to this earth. All the science behind it. Like touch nature, if that makes sense. So great point, right? And it takes it away, right?
Yeah.
It regulates it. Okay. Anybody online? Anybody else? Anybody have?
George,
Yeah, please. Let's wrap up.
I think to carefully choose the words you use, like in the market right now, we hear a lot, oh, it's crazy and I hate and all this stuff. And I think you need to change those words. And the market's not crazy, it's different. Most of you in that room weren't born in 1980, but
I do get a kick out of that Jared James stuff. That Jared James statement. He's like, when you say crazy, what do you think about? You don't say your wife is crazy. Your mother-in-law is crazy. The market's crazy. I thought it was actually a cute little spoof on like saying this market is crazy. What does that actually mean when you say crazy?
yeah, exactly. What does it
describe
actually
crazy.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and be careful with the words that you use. I think that's a different way to change your thought and your belief and your mindset and get out of the rift. Because if you're constantly telling yourself, oh, I'm having a bad day, you're not having a bad day, you're having a bad moment, shift your state and figure it out and move on and look just a different perspective on what is happening with the words that you're using.
Yes. So a word, and somebody with simple statement, words matter, and they do. Okay, anything else? And let's roll.
I just wanted to add, we have affirmations up there, but when there's a lot going on, I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm gonna write it out. I'm the solution, so, okay, what can we do to fix this? It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, when I was stressed, right, I couldn't handle anymore. I came up with an affirmation. I can do more and handle more. I am unstoppable. Right? When I didn't realize I didn't think I could set an appointment, I started saying to myself, I set an appointment every day. Every time I get on a phone, I set an appointment. Just remember, what you say matters. How you speak to yourself, how you speak to others, what you say out loud, what you say internally. Big stuff. Regulates the anxiety. Anything else?
Like April was saying, the body language, but if you tell yourself, okay, I got this, it's gonna be okay. Your mind believes you.
It does.
It's really important.
Especially if you say that with great power and conviction. Laughing. Humor. Absolutely. In fact, you know what? That's one of the things I use. I actually will either put on a Jim Gaffigan, a Brian Regan, I don't even know. So I have a few comedians, I don't even know their names. But yes, Seinfeld, you name it, right?
You'll never hear laughter in an asylum.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay? All right, anything else? Guys, commit yourself to regulating the stresses, the anxiety, so that you can move forward in life effectively. So that you can be of the best thought, the clearest of mind, the best of action, and go back to this. The frequency and the vibration, the presence that you show up with. Just a reminder. The language of the body is feeling. The language of the mind is thought. So what you emanate, what your presence is, matters. It matters. So show up. And if you're going to show up in the right emotions, the right thoughts, the right frequency, because you regulated yourself away from all of these other things of doubt and stress and other words that we get to describe that. Okay? Good? Thoughts? Let's go. Let's have a great day.